Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing the Game Week 11 episode of Buy, Sell, Keep, Avoid, the video where we look at some transfer trends and rank them, rate them, put them in different places depending on how we feel about them, I guess, guys. So yeah, if you do enjoy this kind of content, please do leave a like, please do subscribe. If you're new around here, but without further ado, guys, let's have a look at the rules of the video. So buys are players you probably don't have but should consider bringing in. Sells are players you probably have but should consider removing. Keeps are players you might be thinking about removing but I think you should keep them. And avoids are players who are pretty hyped up right now but I think they're potential traps and could maybe just be avoided. Just maybe. And they're always a little bit controversial. And today is no different. I've got more controversial avoids for you, which I'm sure you're going to enjoy, find entertaining if nothing else. But there we go, guys. Let's start ourselves off with some buys. So the first buy for this video is going to be Wilf Zaha once again, and I do just feel like he is on the brink of something pretty special. Looking at these fixtures, Leicester have once again shown their defensive fragilities. They really have, and I think Zaha looked pretty lively in his last fixture. Hope for a little bit more from him against Leeds, but wasn't to happen. But he did get that assist, which was pretty nice, and he was taking on a decent amount of shots in that game as well. So he's getting back to his best. He's going to be on penalties again, as always. And I like the look of some of these other fixtures as well. Wolves at home. Wolves typically a good defence, but actually Wolves, again, they're kind of showing some cracks there. Everton were the best, least amount of goals conceded, but they're still conceding a lot of chances. So I wonder if they've maybe been a little bit lucky in how few goals they've conceded this season. Actually, maybe they deserve to have conceded a few more, and maybe that suggests that in the future they will concede a few more. And then obviously we've got Southampton there as well. So actually, I think this for run of fixtures is actually quite nice. Quite nice indeed for your Crystal Palace players. Now, I wouldn't necessarily go for a Crystal Palace defender this week unless, that was, the only option. I don't think the Crystal Palace defenders are completely strictly necessary because I do feel like Leicester still potentially have the odd goal in them, and I'm not, out of this run of fixtures, I think this is probably the least likely where Crystal Palace will keep a clean sheet. So I think you can wait one more week for those Crystal Palace defenders potentially. But in terms of attackers, if you're going to go for a Crystal Palace attacker, whether that's Zaha, whether that's Edouard, maybe that's Eze or someone like that instead, this would be the game week to do it. If you don't do it this game week, then you're probably left it too late. Next buy is Trossard, so maybe you don't like the look of Zaha, maybe you find him a little bit trolly, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be looking to sell players like Luis Diaz, who is obviously injured. He's going to be out for a significant period of time until after the World Cup is actually finished, so yeah, you're going to need a new midfielder. Maybe Trossard is the answer there, because he has got a couple of really nice fixtures. Brentford are conceding a lot of goals at the moment, and Nottingham Forest at home is just like the best fixture you can have, pretty much, isn't it? It's a really insane fixture. And although the fixtures after that aren't amazing, I wonder if going for Trossard now maybe allows you in Game Week 13 to transfer Trossard back out again for maybe a Foden or maybe a, I don't know, just some kind of Arsenal or Man City midfielder, just because the fixtures swing a bit for Brighton, but then also that's when Man City and that's when Arsenal, they're after their blank in 12. So that could be an interesting kind of point to kind of jump on Trossard for kind of a 2-week punt and then maybe go back on some Arsenal and Man City players. I don't know. It's just an idea I thought of that might work for some people. Underlying stats, obviously really good. He's getting a lot of very high quality chances. He looks very good in this super attacking De Zerbi Brighton team, which is very good. Slightly overperforming, but he's still underlying stats look really good. 2.52 expected goals in the space of 4 games and 0.58 expected assists in there as well. Those are really high numbers. So he's pretty much, even if you say, oh, he's overperforming, his expected performance is still over 3 goal contributions in 4 appearances, which is quite significant, really. So looks really good. He's one of the players I am most likely to get in. Out of the players I'm kind of looking at right now, Trossard is one of the ones I want the most, I would say. Onto some selves. Alexander-Arnold, unfortunately, he is going to be injured for a couple of weeks, and I didn't really want to put injured players in. I don't really like putting injured players in these videos because it's like, we all know, if their player is injured, then we sell them. But often it's the case that player isn't actually injured. Often they are actually injured. Alexander-Arnold is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Luis Diaz is going to be out for longer than that. We've still got Matip out. We have got Matip out now. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks as well. We've got Robertson still out. The Liverpool defence in general, so I want to really say that it's not just sell Alexander-Arnold, it's really just sell Alisson, Van Dijk, any Liverpool defender you have in your team right now. They all have to go because they're all injured, and the ones that are left well, were already doing badly enough when everyone was available. Liverpool just conceding so many goals. It's really just not looking good for the Liverpool defence at all. And I would only really consider keeping some of the Liverpool attackers. I think it's going to be difficult to sell someone like Salah, because who do you sell him for? And plus they got that Nottingham Forest game in a couple of game weeks time, then Leeds. Even that West Ham at home game maybe you could consider to be quite a nice fixture for Salah as well. I would even be looking to get some of the Liverpool attackers, but in terms of the defence, they've all got to go. No matter what Liverpool defender you have in your team right now, they have to go, because you can look at these fixtures and say, oh, actually they look quite easy fixtures. Let me tell you, there is no such thing as an easy fixture for a Liverpool defender anymore. There really isn't. So Alexander-Arnold, like I say, Alisson, Van Dijk, whoever you've got in the Liverpool defensive positions, they've got to go. And my next sell is actually going to be Neco Williams, which I know is a bit of a weird one, a bit of an interesting one. And this isn't so much of this player is awful, you absolutely must sell them. But it's more like an idea that I kind of just wanted to float around. And I couldn't really think of a good time to talk about this idea, I guess, other than the buy, sell, keep, avoid video. So here we are. Anyway, so Neco Williams, a lot of you guys have got him on your bench right now, and unfortunately it looks like he is no longer keeping his place. We've got Serge Aurier there who's going to be taking some minutes. We knew that was going to happen eventually, but now he's going to be severe rotation risk. We also know that Nottingham Forest concedes so many goals that even when he does play, he can't pick up clean sheet points, or even, he's even taking minus points every game because of the amount of goals that are being conceded. We also know his attacking numbers are nowhere near as good as they used to be. Now that Gibbs White is at the club, he's taken a lot of the set piece responsibilities, so Williams is having to play a little bit deeper as well, just because the defence needs solidifying in a way. So you can see on screen, whereas at the start of the season Neco Williams, his attacking numbers look really good, now they look really quite meh, not great. 5 appearances, 0.04 expected goals, 0.53 expected assists. It's not terrible, but that's still what, 1 expected assist every 10 games. That's not very good, really, is it? So yeah, I mean, I don't really like it, and he's not really going to be offering you anything right now. But that's usually okay, because he's 4.1 million, he's just going to stay on the bench anyway. But in Game Week 12, you guys are going to have Arsenal players, you're going to have Man City players, and you're going to want to bench them, and you're going to have to play players like Neco Williams. So maybe now is a good time to start maybe trying to think about how you can maybe upgrade Williams so you can get a few extra points, squeeze a few extra points out of Game Week 12 potentially. That could be an interesting idea. You could upgrade him to another cheap-ish kind of defender. You've got Mark Gahey at 4.3. You've got Tyrone Mings. He's up to 4.4 now. We've got some Brighton defenders. Brighton obviously play against Nottingham Forest in Game Week 12. So maybe a Brighton defender, a Lewis Dunk, a Webster. He's 4.5 million, isn't he? Maybe go for one of those players could be kind of a way to just get yourself a couple of extra points from Game Week 12, and allows you to keep players like Martinelli or Foden or De Bruyne or Haaland or Cancelo or Saka or Jesus or whoever else you have from Arsenal and Man City. It allows you to keep them on the bench, whereas you have a little bit of confidence that you've not got a Neco Williams who you're not sure if he's going to play. Even if he does play, how many goals is he going to concede? Is he going to get a yellow card? Is he going to get 0 points? Was there any point in having him in the team in the first place? So it's just a suggestion. It's just an idea of maybe Williams to a playing defender might work in your favour for Game Week 12, potentially. On to some keeps. Mitrovic, I know a lot of people are selling Mitrovic right now, a hell of a lot of people, because he's still got his yellow Dorito of death next to his name in the FPL website. Obviously, he didn't play in Game Week 10 anyway. But in Game Week 11, it's looking good. The manager's comments look very, very positive. He is expected, as of right now, he's expected to be back ready for Game Week 11, ready for the home game against Bournemouth. And we look at Mitrovic, you look at some of these fixtures, which are pretty good, and you've got to think the player is in some seriously good form. It's like one of the most forwards in, I think I'm not even exaggerating, in world football. If you count when he's not been injured, and if you count, last season, if you count his international performances as well, he's just a goal-scoring machine at the moment. Absolutely insane goal-scoring machine. So you kind of, if he's available, you really do want him. And I think we're very quickly forgetting, just because he, we had the international break, and we had his injury, and we had that blank before the international break, and then we had the fixtures postponed due to Queen Elizabeth, and we've kind of forgotten in a way just how magical Mitrovic can be in terms of scoring goals in the Premier League. It kind of seems like a thing in the distant past, but it's really not, and especially if you can consider his performance in the international duty as well. It's really not in the distant past at all. It's very much in the present. So once he gets himself back to fitness and he's on grass, he's training, it's looking positive. Obviously, you know, if things change when we get press conferences later on in the week, then fair enough, completely understood. But from what I've seen today, it's still looking reasonably positive about Mitrovic, and I think he could, you know, be available, ready to go. And if he is, who else are you going to swap him for right now? You know, got to keep him. I think. I think he's got to be a keep. My other keep is Raheem Sterling, and I know this one is going to be more of a difficult pill to swallow, I guess, because I know that Sterling has damaged, I guess, some FPL managers recently. He has caused some pain, let's put it that way, especially with that benching. But what I always say about players, if a player is what you would consider a regular starter and they get benched one game week, that is never an indication to sell them. That's more of an indication to keep them, you know, because if a player who usually starts gets rested one game week, usually that means once that rest is done and out the way, that gives them the rest and energy they need to play consistently in the future. You know, you have your one rest game and then you play consistently. And that's kind of what we're expecting from Sterling, I think. He's only had that one game off. He's been playing pretty super nailed on for the rest of the games. He's a really important key player for Chelsea on penalties as well, depending on who else is on the pitch, I suppose. And the fixtures look reasonably good as well. You can imagine that Sterling could get some points, some FPL points out of some of these fixtures. So I feel like in a situation where there isn't really any other premiums you desperately need, as long as you've got Haaland, you know, you don't really need any more premiums. You know, some of you guys are going to be like, oh, well, who am I even going to sell Sterling to? You know, do I go for Bowen or, you know, do I go for Foden for one game week's time? I can't go for Luis Diaz anymore because he's injured. Have I missed a boat on Madison kind of thing? Maybe just keep Sterling. That's probably what I would do. I'd look at these fixtures and say, hey, you know, we got, you know, one of the best, most, you know, a great FPL point scorer in history who is reasonably nailed on, playing in a team that hopefully is going to give him more opportunities. It looks pretty good to me. So, yeah, Sterling, I keep as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't give up on him quite yet. Right, on to some avoids. The controversial one first. So Cancelo is the most popular transfer in terms of defenders. I think he's the second most popular transfer in overall among all players being transferred in FPL right now. So this is a super popular transfer in that I am actually telling you that I believe is an avoid. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I look at these next two fixtures. First, we've got Liverpool. I know we always talk and say Liverpool are terrible. You know, we want to target Liverpool, surely. We want to buy loads of players to go against Liverpool because they're awful. But Liverpool are still scoring goals, which means that Cancelo is not going to get a clean sheet. It's super unlikely, surely, that Cancelo is going to keep a clean sheet in this game. I just can't see it happening. I really can't see it happening at all, Cancelo keeping a clean sheet. I mean, it could happen. Man City could potentially keep a clean sheet. But, yeah, I don't really see it. If you've got Cancelo already, and I should always stress this, just because a player is an avoid doesn't mean they're a sell. It just means now's not the right time to buy them. I have Cancelo in my team, and I'm not going to sell him. No way. I want to keep him. I'm just going to hold him. I'm just going to bench him over game week 12, for example. But the point that I'm trying to make is that he can't score any points in 12, and his ceiling for points in game week 11 is a lot lower than usual. So therefore, if you're looking for someone in the short term, is there maybe someone else who is going to get you a few more points over the next two game weeks, who can help cover you for game week 12 so you don't need to worry about trying to field a full team of 11 and really help you out in that way? If you're looking for something short term, there is definitely other players who can get more FPL points than Cancelo in the next two game weeks. And I don't know who you're selling to get Cancelo in, but I would imagine that they've probably got a better chance of scoring more points than Cancelo over the next two game weeks, even if they're like a Liverpool defender, genuinely. Because of that blank. That blank is so significant, and the chances of a clean sheet are so low in game week 11 as well. It's just not looking good. It's just, for me, a terrible, terrible time to buy Cancelo. And you can look at his score from last week and say, hey, he scored well last week, which means he's going to score well next week. It's never how FPL works. So, yeah, if you are looking to buy Cancelo, totally get it. I would have him firmly on my radar as well if I didn't already own him. But now is not the right time. Wait till game week 13. That's when we're going to go back in on those Man City and Arsenal players as well. You can wait. You can afford to wait. He's just not going to get any points really in game week 11. Definitely not in game week 12. And I'm also going to put Saka down as an avoid just because he's slightly too expensive for me as a buy at this point. I know this Leeds game is a fairly favourable fixture, and you might look at last game week and think, hey, Saka, you know, did pretty well. One of the goals was a penalty, which we can't really predict when they're going to come around again. The underlying stats on paper look good, 3 goals and 3 assists, but even during this period, I feel like Martinelli has been much better at a much cheaper price. I feel like Martinelli has been the better option, you know, looking forward, you know, who do you think is going to score points in the future? I still think it's Martinelli more than it is going to be Saka. And, you know, if you're going to go for one or the other, you're going to go for Martinelli. And if you already have Martinelli and you're also going to go for Saka, then you're just putting yourself in a really, really difficult situation for game week 12. So just like Cancelo, I would say the same thing with someone like Saka. Wait till game week 13, because 7.8 million is a lot of money to bench in terms of midfielder. It's a lot easier to bench someone like Martinelli. And once you start adding Saka to Martinelli, you know, maybe you've probably got Haaland already, maybe you've got De Bruyne, maybe you've got Cancelo, maybe you've got Foden. When you start adding more players who blank in 12, all you're doing is creating yourselves problems in game week 12. So try and have a little bit of forward thinking. If you haven't already got players like Saka, you probably want to just keep them at bay, because the best case scenario is that you transfer them in now and you're going to have to transfer them back out again immediately after. So 2 transfers for 1 player. I feel like you can do better, guys. So yeah, just in conclusion, I suppose, we do need to be keeping a firm eye on game week 12 and planning, I guess, how we are going to navigate that in a way. Have we got 11 available players for game week 12? If we haven't, how are we going to make sure that we do? Can we survive with 10 players? Do you think 10 players will be enough? Are the 10 players or 11 players that you have got for game week 12, are they good enough? Or have you found that you're actually going to be playing a lot of players who don't get very many minutes or only sort of get 1 point per game week or stuff like that? Can we do a little bit better? And can we hold off on those Man City and Arsenal players for just 1 more game week and potentially stick with what we've got? I should note that of all the Arsenal and Man City players, the only player I'd be tempted to buy this game week would actually be Foden, which is why I haven't mentioned him as an avoid today. In terms of all the other Man City and Arsenal players, I just don't think it's the right time to buy. Actually, Haaland as well, if you don't have Haaland. You guys already have Haaland, but if you didn't, maybe him. That's the video done for today. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe if you're new around here. Last night, I uploaded the strategy stream video, which you might want to go check out if you fancy it. We did the transfers tier list as well, if you want to get an expanded view and some opinions on loads of more players than the ones we just did tonight. Then maybe you can go check out that video as well. We've got more videos to come. 100 Experts, my team selection video as well. And I don't know what I'm going to do on Friday, as always. That'll be I say wildcard video. I don't mean that literally. It'll just be whatever I feel like on the day. But there we go, guys. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.